Hurricane Irma made landfall in the U.S. Virgin Islands today, causing widespread damage. In advance of the storm's arrival, the territory's governor ordered the National Guard to prepare for the coming catastrophe by suppressing certain constitutional rights. In an executive order issued on Tuesday, Governor Kenneth Mapp empowered the Guard to seize guns and ammunition from citizens, all to maintain public order after the storm, says the order. The order echoes a similar one issued by the mayor of New Orleans, Ray Nagin, prior to Hurricane Katrina. The NRA is already threatening legal action over that order. Governor Mapp joins us now. So, Governor, before we get to the question of your order, give us a quick update on the condition of the Virgin Islands tonight.
Well, Hurricane Irma did go through the U.S. Virgin Islands with the most severe winds and catastrophic winds going through the St. Thomas St. John district, islands. We experienced in the St. Thomas St. John area sustained winds of at least 150 miles an hour with gusts in excess of that. We've had damages to our hospital, firefighting stations. A good number of homes have lost their roofs. And so we're doing that assessment. We're now, I think, about 20, 30 mile-an-hour winds as the storm makes its way out of the Virgin Islands. And so we're doing that full assessment. But I must really say that our federal partners, the FEMA, the DOD, the Trump administration, President Trump and his team have really been a true good partner and really helping us as we go through this event. And tonight we're beginning to mobilize resources into the territory. We'll have aircraft landing on the Big Island, St. Croix. The airfield has just been cleared to take military aircraft to position assets. So our priority in the St. Thomas St. John district is shelter, nutrition, debris cleanup, hospital evac, because we had catastrophic damages to our main hospital, and security.
Okay. Well, we're certainly rooting for you, Governor. It's a beautiful place. Why does confiscating citizens' guns make this catastrophe better?
Well, let me say, first of all, that is just a complete incorrect assessment. I did not order or authorize the Adjutant General of the Virgin Islands National Guard to seize any weapons from any citizens, and I do not have the power by Virgin Islands law or by the Constitution of the United States to seize weapons from citizens via the military. This order is a standing order that most adjutant generals receive. When it says it empowers the adjutant general to, pursuant to law, to seize arms, ammunition, explosives, incendiary material, it's simply and other property. It means that the adjutant general, if they did not have sufficient weaponry, they would go to any place like a store and they could buy that stuff, meaning that they have the right to, she has the authorization to spend government resources and acquire it. Is no different than the same example as when the government seizes property. We don't seize property without due compensation to the property owner after the appropriate assessment.
Okay, so wait, I'm a little confused. I'm reading the order right here, and it says that the Adjutant General is authorized and directed to seize arms, ammunition, explosives, incendiary material. You're saying that
and property that may be required by military forces. It doesn't say anything in here about taking weapons from citizens or taking weapons. We have no authority. I have no authority under the U.S. Constitution or Virgin Islands law. And as you can see in the order, it references sections of the Virgin Islands Code. And there's no authority in there to seize any property from a citizen, particularly arms or ammunition. And no, our National Guard has never practiced that. This order.
But hold on. I'm reading it, and it doesn't make any distinction at all between citizens and I don't know who else, non-citizens.
That is exactly the point. When you mobilize the National Guard, the general is authorized to ensure that all of the resources that soldiers require, that she has or he has authority to get them, not to go into people's homes and get them, but to get them as if government acquires property on the open market. And this order is this language, this law is replete across the nation for the mobilization of rollout of National Guard units.
Okay, so just to be clear, hold on. Wait, I'm sorry, but I just want to be. I want to explain this in a way that our viewers can understand. So what I hear you saying is that your National Guard soldiers might not have enough guns, so they might need to seize them from gun stores? Is that what you're saying?
No. Under the circumstances in mobilizing the National Guard, The general is authorized to do what is required to have the proper munitions and resources for the National Guard. The Virgin Islands National Guard has an armory that has all kinds of equipment and munitions and arms. This order written by me is referencing the code, the Virgin Islands Code, and as you can see in that paragraph, it references almost 8 different paragraphs in the Virgin Islands Code. None of those paragraphs give any authorization for the National Guard or the VI government to seize weapons from citizens. I know some.
So this is seizing weapons. This is because, I mean, I've read this order twice. You're saying this gives them the authority to take weapons that the government of the Virgin Islands already owns from
or take
armories.
Let us assume that some circumstances came up that the National Guard had needed some munition and was not within their armory. If that munition was available in any retail store, the National Guard, the Adjutant General, would not have to go through the procurement process of the government to purchase it. She could go in there and buy that right off the rack because she's doing or he's doing what is required to retrofit the National Guard. But this is not about seizing anybody's personal property.
And so it's not about disarming the because, as you know, when Hurricane Hugo rolled through the Virgin Islands in the late 80s, there was a lot of chaos and violence, and law enforcement in the Virgin Islands were not able to cope with it, and people were getting hurt. So the federal government had to send the U.S. Army down there, right?
With all due respect, Tucker, in 1989, when Hurricane Hugo went through the Virgin Islands, 98% of the homes and buildings on the island of St. Croix lost their roofs. There was never any experience of hurricanes in the U.S. Virgin Islands prior to that time up until 1929. And so police officers and law enforcement people were scrambling in terms of what they were going to do in terms of sheltering their family and all of that rain. So there was disorder. But there was no seizure of any weapon.
I wasn't claiming there was, and I wasn't claiming that there was any done. I was just saying that law enforcement was not able to protect your citizens. That's why the president sent the army in. But hold on. Bottom line, I just want to be clear. You're not taking anyone's guns away. Is that just?
Let me be crystal clear.
Yes.
I have no authority under the Virgin Islands law, Revised Organic Act, as written and passed by the Congress, nor the U.S. Constitution, to seize weapons from anyone and seize them via the military. And nothing in this order gives any authorization to the National Guard Adjutant General to seize weapons from any citizen.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that clarification. It's not at all clear from reading it, but we're grateful that you told us what it means. Thanks, Governor.
Thank you. I've got to get back to my rescue operations.
I bet you do. Thanks for joining us tonight.